Let's start with a simple exploration, not of science, not of technology, not of methodologies or frameworks, but of ourselves. Every conversation like this quietly assumes an audience. But instead of assuming, we would like to invite you to discover, on your own terms, whether this conversation speaks to you. So, this conversation is for learners, and here is an explanation on who we think the learners are. Learners are those who carry humility and curiosity as companions, people who recognize that learning is not a phase, but a continuous process, and that sometimes progress requires not just learning something new, but letting go of something old. If your curiosity is still alive, you'll feel at home here. It's also for those who don't simply operate within a system, but instinctively look for ways to improve it. If you find yourself asking, "What more can I add here?" even when the path isn't obvious, and you're willing to persist until you uncover it, this conversation aligns with you. At some point, every meaningful journey encounters failure. This is for those who see failures not as interruptions, but as inputs, signals that help refine direction. If reflection follows your setbacks more often than regret, you already understand how growth truly works. This space also resonates with people who draw energy from within, those who don't wait for ideal conditions to act, and whose internal drive often becomes a quiet source of strength for others navigating the same terrain. Then there is self-regulation, the ability to step back, observe one's own thinking, and respond with intention rather than impulse. If you value reflection, self-discipline, and conscious correction over reactive decisions, you're engaging at the right depth. And finally, this conversation is equally for those who may not yet see themselves fully reflected in these traits, but feel a genuine pull toward them. If the desire to grow is sincere, the journey has already begun. So as we move forward, if some of these thoughts resonate or even gently challenge you, consider that a good sign. This session isn't about where you stand today. It's about the direction you're willing to move toward. Let's explore that together. Having explored who this conversation is meant for, it's worth asking a deeper question. Why do people like this matter in the first place? What role do they play in the advancement of society? Progress rarely emerges from noise. Noise may capture attention, but progress requires clarity, intent, and sustained effort. The individuals we've just described operate at the very center of that process. They are the ones who convert potential into progress. Where complexity overwhelms many, they seek understanding. Where uncertainty causes hesitation, they experiment, learn, and iterate. Their curiosity initiates movement, and their humility ensures that movement remains grounded. They serve society by giving direction to disruption. In periods of rapid technological, economic, or social shifts, they neither resist change nor chase it blindly. Instead, they interpret it, distilling chaos into patterns and patterns into practical pathways forward. They act as the connection between insight and execution. Ideas alone do not advance societies. What moves societies forward is the disciplined translation of insight into systems, behaviors, and outcomes that can scale and endure. These individuals persist through ambiguity, failure, and resistance to make that translation real. Equally important, they become anchors in times of acceleration. As the pace of change increases, they bring balance through reflection, self-regulation, and ethical grounding. They ensure that advancement does not outrun wisdom and that progress remains aligned with human values. Their energy influences others, not through force but through example. By drawing motivation from within, they elevate the environments they are part of, fostering cultures of learning, resilience, and shared accountability. Over time, their impact extends beyond products, organizations, or technologies. They shape how society learns, adapts, and evolves. They normalize growth over stagnation, contribution over entitlement, and responsibility over convenience. This is how advancement truly takes place. Not through momentary attention or loud declarations, but through consistent, thoughtful action by individuals who take ownership of improvement wherever they stand. If, as you listened, you found yourself reflected in the qualifiers we discussed, and if the purposes we just explored resonate with the direction you see for your own journey, then we invite you to stay with this conversation. What follows is not a set of instructions, but a shared exploration of how such mindsets translate into real decisions, real systems, and real impact. This session is meant to add clarity where there is complexity, direction where there is motion, and intention where effort already exists. So if your instinct says, this aligns with how I think or how I aspire to think, then you're exactly where you need to be. Let's continue.